Okay, so I rented a car for 2 months, right? That was part of my plan. I turned it in on Tuesday. The withdrawal has already started.
Again next week. Hey, welcome to Expat Diaries podcast. And today we are speaking with another Robin. So that will be fun we're going to have two Robins on the show at the same time. As we always, we're like always looking for those experiences of people who've already made the journey to Costa Rica or are in the process of it. And there are also people who facilitate others making the journey down. And so we just really want to get as much good information out there to you. If this is something you're considering and it's on your plate, then just scroll through and find the interviews that we've done that are relative to you, and then see what you can learn from their experiences. So good morning, Robin. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Robbie. I'm great. How are you?
Super, super. So I know that you made your first visit in 2021. What brought you to Costa Rica for that first visit?
Okay, so I actually looked at my records, and my first trip here was February of 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, so I had to kind of double check because I wasn't sure. So I went to Tamarindo just because people had really, everyone I talked to loved Costa Rica. They said, "Oh, Robin, you would love it. So, you should go for a trip." So I got a plane ticket from a birthday, and I decided to go to Tamarindo. We rented an Airbnb. I did it with two other friends, and fell in love with it, and was anxious to see more of the country. So I did 2 or 3 more visits and fell in love.
So when you were in Tamarindo, it's unusual that people come to Tamarindo and rent an Airbnb. Most of the time they're hitting the resorts because it's a huge resort area.
Sure.
Did you stay pretty local to Tamarindo while you were there, just exploring that area?
I did, and just so you know, I'm not a resort or spa person. So we ended up in a cute little Airbnb that was walking distance to the beach and to the town. And I really like feeling the vibes of certain areas. So we were able to, I don't even think we rented a car. And if we did, we didn't use it. I can't remember. But we walked for breakfast, for dinner. We went down to the beach. We went to the different craft shops. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was, we did that on purpose.
Awesome.
We didn't even see the spa or resort, really.
I haven't either. I've been to Tamarindo a couple times and I've never either. And it's funny because I had a friend of mine in the States ask me one time, he's like, I'm going to Costa Rica and I really need some tips on where to go and what to do. And I literally told him, I'm like, you probably don't want to ask me because I'm not your typical traveler.
Right.
Like I'm going to go somewhere super remote and I am going to just experience a small community. And,
Sure.
and so he went to a resort in Tamarindo and he came back. He's like, I hated it. Like the sand was so hot and everything was, I'm like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why do you go to an all-inclusive resort in a place as beautiful as Costa Rica? And then you're
Right.
caged in to that environment right there. Like you just can't, I mean, you can do day trips out or whatever, but to me,
Sure.
go take a cruise then. I mean, if that's what you want.
Yes. In fact, we took advantage of the, daily trips, the excursions through TripAdvisor. I would highly, highly recommend that because it was nice to, a lot of them are family owned. And so it's like, the brother owns the boat and the sister owns the restaurant where you're going to get your lunch, and the person doing the tour is the son. And it was just amazing. And I think that's when I really started to fall in love with the people in the area.
And, that's the recurring theme a lot is not, I mean, there's beautiful places on earth everywhere, but what makes Costa Rica so special to me are the people. And I mean, until you've experienced it, you just won't understand it. They're just some of the kindest people that I've ever come across in all my travels.
Absolutely. In fact, just a little quick story. I went into the post office for the first time, and all I wanted to do was mail.
I didn't know there was a post office, so there's that.
Say again.
I didn't even know there was a post office.
There is a post office. There are no mailboxes, so you had to go to the post office. And I am very old school. I like to send postcards.
I love it.
So I bought the postcards, but I had to go to the post office, get the stamps. And you just can't get them out of a machine. You can't just go to one person that's behind the counter and get your stamps. You have to take a number.
Mm.
And there were 30 people sitting in the chairs numbered 1 through 30. I just
Wow.
wanted to mail my post off. However, every single person, because they knew I couldn't speak Spanish, I'm like, very small español. Oh, everyone was so kind. This is what you do oh, it's your turn. Tap, move over. This guy, thank you. Thank you so much. It made my heart just swell with joy for humanity, right? Because it's like they could have just ignored me,
Right.
but they didn't. They were just like, we are here to help you, lady. And I was like, gracias, gracias.
I love that. I love that. It's kind of like going to the DMV. The bank is a lot like that as well.
Okay, I haven't done the bank yet.
Okay, the bank is a lot like everybody sits in the chairs, and then when one person goes up, then everybody stands up and moves over a seat. It's fun.
It is. Yes.
Okay, so that was visit number 1. Visit number 2, where did you go?
Visit number 2, where did I go? La Fortuna.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And I also stayed in an Airbnb, and there were small cabins walking distance to the town of La Fortuna. Butterfly something, I can't remember the name. That's when I fell in love with La Fortuna. I saw my first waterfall.
Mhm.
I got up every day and walked into town and had breakfast and met so many nice people. On the way downtown, as you're walking, how many people say hola to you? I mean, that's amazing. Hola, hola, hola. Went to the waterfall. That trip I really enjoyed also because I got a chance to volunteer at the local dog rescue.
Oh, nice.
So I spent like 2 or 3 hours there walking dogs. And I'm like, this is like heaven to me. I fell in love.
You go to, and we went to, a couple years ago, we went to Roatan, and I think about, because there's so many dogs that are just, they're free range dogs, right? Like they belong to somebody. They're not all homeless. They just,
Right.
they're not encumbered by the choker, right? By the
Right.
thing that says you belong to me. They
Right.
know where they belong,
Mhm.
and most of them are healthy. They look great, whatever. And when we went to Roatan, man, it was like dogs bred with lizard monkeys. These were the ratchetiest dogs you've ever
Yes.
seen. And like their hips, you could just grab their hip. I'm like, they were starving, and
Yeah.
they were neglected. They didn't belong to anybody. They were just trying to survive like the homeless.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And they were literally just, you could tell that there was nobody there doing any population control, meaning spaying and neutering, any of those
Mhm.
things. I don't think that there was a dog rescue or any of those facilities there, because it was, I mean, it was obvious. It was so blatantly different from being in Costa Rica and seeing the dogs all the time going
Mhm.
from here to there. They're on a trail somewhere. They're going to, they visited Uncle Pat, and now they're going home, or,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But there you could tell they didn't belong to anybody, and they were just surviving.
Oh, that would just break my heart because
Oh, it was horrible.
Ooh.
I mean, I will never go back there. Not just because that, but that was just so neglectful for humanity. So it speaks to humanity for me.
Yes. Yes.
How you take care of the ones that can't take care of themselves speaks to who you are as a country for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
I love that just about every community has a dog rescue in it, and
Yes.
a vet that volunteers to help take care of these. And then there's always other volunteers that are there. It's not a paid position. There's always other volunteers that are there.
Right.
How do we help? And
Right. Right.
that's amazing. I know you have a huge heart for dogs, so
I do.
that's cool. So La Fortuna, loved it. So then your next visit was where?
Oh, I am not really great at pronouncing these places.
That's you
Um,
went to Limon, right? You go over to Limon area?
I started San Jose to Najayo.
Okay.
Najayo. It was in the mountains.
Okay.
Because I looked at an Airbnb there for extended stay. Then I made my way to Limon, and I stayed there for 10 days.
Okay.
Fell in love with the area. It was really diverse, which I really enjoyed. A lot of dreadheads. It was really great. I'm, however, not a beach person. I love it, but I was like, I don't think I could live here. I could vacation for sure,
Right.
but it was just a lot of bustle and cars and bikes and tut-tuts and sand and water. And I'm like, Robin, you didn't even surf, you didn't swim, you
Mhm,
didn't go on a boat ride.
mhm.
But it was a beautiful area.
Right, and the cruise ships come in over there, and so, like, I think just about every place that I've ever gone that has cruise ship stops, the town environment changes on those days whenever that are there. Like, everything changes to accommodate this because, it's revenue, and I get that.
Yeah.
But it
Yes.
changes from your sleepy little fun place that you love hanging out to this place that, accommodates the tourist. And, I mean, I
Yes. Yes.
get it.
Yes.
I'm not, like, saying that. It's just, like, I probably wouldn't prefer that.
It's really a nice place to visit. I
Mhm.
recommend it highly because it's just lovely. However, day to day living there, my life, I'm more jungle, monkeys, hiking, all that.
Me too.
Mhm.
Me too. 1,000,000%. I wanna go to the beach when I wanna go there, but I don't wanna live at the beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love it that, like, anytime that you're, in up in the mountains, like, the temperature is better, the mosquitoes are better, because
Mhm.
there's not those standing pools of water, those
Right.
flatlands down there, and the breeze is so nice. And a lot of times, if you're on the beach, if, like, you're down that level right there, when the rains come through, they're gonna miss you, right?
Okay.
And so that rain coming through will come through at that elevation up there. Like, I used to be it was funny, I had a place up in the mountains, in Avita, and I would in the morning do my laundry, and then I would put it out on the line to dry, and then I may head into town to have some coffee or go sit at the beach for a while or do whatever, and then I would look up and go, "Crap, I think it's raining up there." My my laundry is out. I'll be busting it to get up there and get my laundry done.
It's funny how your life changes sometimes. Some of the things that you have to do in Costa Rica, like I had to learn how to use the wash machine.
Yeah, oh, that's a fun.
Totally different story on that one. Whew.
They are interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so that was your 3rd trip, and so then at
Yes.
some point you went, "Okay, I know where I wanna live, and
Yes.
I'm." And so what did that decision? So you're back in the States, which is where do you live in the States?
I live in York, South Carolina.
Okay. So you're back
Originally from Boston, but I migrated to York, South Carolina.
so you're
Mainly a dog thing for the land. I'm sorry?
So you're back there, and then you're, like, contemplating this, I would lo okay, so I've discovered, and this is what I love,
Yes.
and then how do you make that decision?
Well, I am a Virgo and an overthinker and an overplanner. So the minute I said, you know what, I think I might do this, I started putting things in place. Okay. So, how much money do I need? Where do I want to stay? What are my expenses? How do I get my dogs there? Can I take my dogs there?
Mhm,
How long will we stay? So that's what I did. And then I decided the month, which was October of this year.
mhm.
And it was quite the trip because I am an older person, but I'm like a kid when I have to travel in a car. So I had to drive myself from South Carolina to Miami with my 3 dogs.
Mm.
And I'm saying in my brain, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Anyway, so we fly out of Miami, and so we're here. Yeah, we did it. We
And
did
so
it.
and I know that you're in a different position than some people who just jump and make the huge leap, like, you've given yourself 6 months.
Yes.
And so this is like a trial period for you, like, what does this look like? Can I still run my business? Can I do whatever? What will 6 months look like? And I love that because a lot of
Mhm.
people, like, sell all of their stuff and then they just evacuate their entire life and then come down here and then go, "Oh, hell, I don't know that I love this that much."
Yeah. No, I always like to have options and plan B, and I like to plan. I just like
Mhm,
to plan because um then I feel like I personally can enjoy the experience more, right? Because if
mhm.
I sell everything, I feel like I'm stressing myself and putting pressure on myself to make it work.
Right,
If I know that I can leave tomorrow, I feel better. I'm like,
right.
okay. So yeah, I put a lot of planning into it and like no regrets so far. I haven't even been here 2 months and I feel like I can say like yo tango tres perros. I'm like, what? I can I can put more than 2 words together in Spanish, and my dogs have settled, I've settled, I've met my neighbors, I go into La Fortuna, I have hola, the people that know me. I'm like, "It's 2 months."
Yeah, it's easy, huh?
It is. I love
So
it.
so how are your dogs adapting?
They are doing very well. So, let's see, they're all older, they're all over 10, okay? So I'm like the mother who packed all the best toys and goodies and all the things from home for the and so, at first they were little, they stayed near me. It took them literally 3 months to even bark. I mean, 3 weeks, which was hilarious because they're like, okay, I guess we're here now. We're here now. We're staying, but they're doing extremely well. I think the weather is really good for their fur.
Good.
The humidity, I'm like, your fur looks really good.
Nice.
So, and we're doing very well as a pack. So I'm very happy. Very
Well,
happy.
and that's really, I think, important too. So, especially if you're coming down as just a solo person, right?
Mhm.
That that could be lonely. That could be like if you weren't really good at building community and being part of a community. If you didn't have them, that may be a little isolating for you. But
Absolutely.
the people who don't have dogs don't understand that we have full conversations with them.
We do.
And, I mean, there are times like my husband's already got up and gone to work, whatever, and I'm downstairs and I'm talking to the dogs, and I'm like, "What? Yes, I know. I'm gonna make you breakfast. Quit
Hmm.
staring at me. Why are you
Hmm.
following me in here? You can hear me making you." I'm like having whole conversations with them, and I think like, if I were to, there were times whenever we were down like for a year, and my dogs were in the States. So like I was only coming down like 1 week a month. And like it was so quiet and there was nobody. It was just me. And
Yeah.
and it was silent. And I literally had nobody to talk to.
Hmm. Hmm.
I made the effort to go into town and talk to somebody. And so I love that for you that you brought your dogs with you.
I I could, and that was the toughest part, financially,
Mhm.
um, to bring all three, right? But I knew that I could never be apart from them for 6 months.
Oh, for
I,
sure.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Nor would it be fair to them, right? Even if I could do it, it wouldn't be fair to them.
So let's
Um,
talk about that process though, because a lot of people are
sure.
considering bringing their pets. What all did I know you had to vet them before you brought them down and have certain papers ready, but what did that look like and what did that cost?
Okay, so there are a couple of options when you want to transport your dogs.
Mhm.
Um, I went with the private relocation.
Okay.
Um,
That's pricey.
it is pricey because you have the option of cargo
Mhm.
with your regular airline. You have private transport or jet.
Right.
I couldn't do the jet, so I did in the middle, which they use. I think they have contracts with DHL. So the great thing about it, and I would probably once and done with this one, not because they didn't do a great job. I think they were wonderful, but I was very curious about the process. So I'm
Mm,
taking notes, and I'm like, I could probably get them home on my own. But coming here, I wanted to make sure that everything was perfect,
right,
including they made sure that you had the vaccinations.
right.
They gave you the timing of when you need to go to your vet and when to get it done. They made sure that all the vaccinations were correctly signed. Having a piece of paper with a stamp versus a ink can keep your dogs from coming.
Oh, wow.
That's how important it is. So that's why these folks are really important. So I did use the transport service. They made my job just so easy, right? Because they mapped out everything for us. They gave me updates. That was huge as a dog owner for me.
For sure.
And then San Jose, they receive them, and then you're back together again. So there are a couple of options out there. It depends financially where you are, how much you want to spend, how much you want to be involved. I know some folks who have done everything from A to Z, and it's been fine, and their dogs are fine. But I had 3 large dogs also. I don't have a Yorkie or
Right.
little tease that, it's different with 3 large dogs and a bully breed. That made it complicated.
Mm.
So,
So what was that cost like per dog?
per dog, once it's all and said and done, I paid about 7,000 for all three,
Okay. Okay.
and that included everything.
Okay. And so then did they arrive with you or they arrived separately from you and then they were taken care of? Then when you got there, you were reunited with them.
Okay, so I drove them to Miami because we were all flying out of Miami.
Right.
Same times, different planes.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they're on a cargo DHL plane,
Got you.
special section for pets, temperature controlled, pressure controlled, all that great stuff. They go off, I get on my plane, we arrive. I arrive before them. They are delayed a little bit because they have to go through customs and they have
Mm,
to sign off on the paperwork. This is all included, right?
I love it.
And then from there, they transported them to a boarding facility in San Jose for holding. It was the same day.
Okay.
And then I met them there. We were so happy. And then we took our private shuttle, thank goodness, from San Jose to Chautauqua.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. That, and I think that knowing that process, because I've heard about it before, I've never talked to anybody who's actually done it. It's nice to hear like that was a smooth transition for people who have the funds to do that part of it.
Sure.
You know, everyone handles it differently. There's private jets that bring them in too, but they're super, super pricey.
Yes, they are. Yes.
You fly with your dogs, so you're all together. But it's good to know that service is available that handles all of that. You know, I love that there's people that step in and go, "Hey, there's a problem we need a solution for. This is too sketchy for people to throw their dogs in the bottom of the plane that they're on. They don't like that part of it. They don't like having to drug their dogs and know that probably their ears are hurting down there with the pressure of the plane, or I don't have this much money to put them on a jet with me. And so to know that there's a middle solution for people and that all of the complicated stuff that you don't think about that could hold up and just be a nuisance because you just don't know is already handled. I love that part of it.
Yes, they were great. I was very happy. I was happy to have my dogs. I was so happy to see my dogs when they arrived. It was just amazing.
I love it. Okay, so now you have landed and you are living in are you living in La Fortuna or you're close to La Fortuna?
I'm probably about 10 minutes away. I'm in Santa Lucia.
Okay. And tell me about that town.
You know, it's very suburban.
Is it?
You know, the roads are nicely paved, which I pay attention to because I like to ride my bike. So now I'm getting back into cycling. You have the option of taxis or the bus. You can walk to the bus stop. I do believe there's a school in our street, and every time I've gone out, people have been very friendly. There's a little creek where folks on the weekends, they'll go with their family and put up a table and they'll cook, and it's just really cute and really nice. And I love it. I love it.
What made you land in Santa Lucia?
I was in Chichagua at first and in an Airbnb. And I'm going to say in my life, I made the mistake of not getting a place with AC.
It's a lot. You can't go to sleep at night.
No. And I was like, I did not spend all this money to bring my dogs here for all of us to pant constantly.
Yeah. The poor dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I've got to make this right. And this is where Facebook is amazing. I kept checking Facebook, you know, I'm all the different groups like Expats in America, Expats in La Fortuna. So, and sure enough, this place came up and it was perfect. It was like, would you accept my dogs? He's like, sure. He's like, it's your own house. You get a nice backyard. You know, you have a gate here. You can walk to the bus stop and you're close to the La Fortuna. So it just really worked out. And he has been, my landlord, his name is Marcel, has been amazing because, you know, once you know local people, they tune you into stuff, you know, and they show you how to say things and where to go. Like I'm discovering all the places to eat at this local sodas, which I love. I'm a big soda fan.
Yeah, exactly.
They're amazing. But yeah, that's why I ended up here. So it's a cute little town.
I think it's beautiful there too. So let's talk about what you do stateside.
Sure. I own a doggy day camp boarding and grooming facility in South Carolina. And we're happy to say we celebrating 20 years.
Wow.
20 years in October. So we've seen a lot of stuff, but we've been very blessed and fortunate. And for me, best job in the world because I get to play with the dogs and have dogs and rescue dogs and foster dogs and do things like that. So.
Well, you should be a great addition to Costa Rica then because they're constantly looking for, you know, fosters and any volunteers that can jump in and help. One of my good friends, Susan, she's just moved back to the States, but she was down in the Uvita area for quite a while. And from the moment I met her, she was volunteering at this place called, it was called Dog, DAWG. And it was,
Okay.
domestic animal, whatever. And I can't remember what it was all.
So
Anyways,
it's like an acronym. That's pretty good.
yeah, it was an acronym. And
Nice.
she would rescue. There was, I mean, at one point she probably had, well, she had 5 dogs. One she had brought from the States, and all of the rest of them were either rescues. They were rescues from Costa Rica that she had picked up. And then there would be times when she would have upwards in the teens because she was fostering. And
Wow.
so she may have a mama with puppies, you know, and she'd bring them home. And then she had 2 cats too, a Bengal, which Hobbs is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Bengal, and then another kitten that she had adopted as well. But she was very involved with that community, and you know, how can I help? She would volunteer at the spay and neuter clinics that
Nice.
have once a month, and just really, I mean, because that's her passion, that's the thing that she loved being involved with.
I'm really looking forward. Like the 2 months since we're just hitting my 2 months mark. Now I feel like yesterday I went and talked to the Costa Rica dog rescue. Now I feel like now that we've settled, it's time for me to um, give back, so to speak, get involved, see what I can do to help. You know, I even spoke with the owner over there, and I said, even if it's social media you need, because I love doing photography, Facebook, Instagram, walking dogs, I can get my steps in. You know, I said, anything you need. He goes, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to starting that.
That's awesome.
For sure.
So, what do you think? Like, so we get to the end of 6 months and you still feel like you do today. What's the plan?
I am researching all of my options. I'll leave it at that. Because, you know, I could come back and forth every 6 months, right? You know, I have a home in the US. I have a nice farm. It's 10 acres, you know, doing that. The business. I would think if anything, if I decided to stay, I would probably test the waters once again, because being the Virgo, I don't want to jump right in, right? I'm here forever. I would probably consider the digital nomad
Nice.
step. So now I'm researching that, see what the requirements are, how that works. Because, you know, I could probably work from home or here,
Right.
and still run the business. So, yeah.
I was trying to see, did I send you that connection? I did. Okay. On the digital nomad visas. I did.
Thank you. Yes.
I sent you that podcast. And you know, it's funny because I didn't even know that that was something that Costa Rica had added. I think they added it post-COVID.
Yes.
But it wasn't an option prior to that. Like you had the pensionado or you had an investor visas that you could get, but I didn't know until I did that podcast that was something that was added. So that was really cool to learn. So one of the things that I know always is super important to me, and I think it should be to anybody. And sometimes I'll interview people and they're really struggling with their move to Costa Rica. And I find them struggling because they have been reluctant to jump in and be part of the community. And it's so important. It doesn't matter where you live. You know, if you're a recluse in the United States, you're going to be just as miserable coming down here, being a recluse down here.
Absolutely.
Be lonely. And now you'll be lonely and alone in a country that you don't speak the language, and that everything is different. Every system is different. Every process is different. So you'll be frustrated and lonely. And so I think that is so huge. And so tell me the things that you've done to start joining communities around Santa Lucia.
Okay. So I rented a car for 2 months, right? That was part of my plan. I turned it in on Tuesday. The withdrawal has already started.
Again next week.
Oh my. So I'm learning the bus route. I have collected mini private taxi business cards.
Yes.
Because it's very important that I also have options in the event I need to take my dogs to the vet. So I always ask them, can I take my dogs? I have gone to the local farmers market, which is amazing.
Isn't it great? The ferry is
amazing. I swear, I feel like I even learned like more Spanish just by going there for one day. And I'm like, this is so amazing. The food, the produce, the products, the smiles, the people.
The honeys, the cheeses. I mean, the food artisans are like just as great as the jewelry artisans are.
Yes, absolutely. I know the ladies that I have befriended love the bread. They're like, oh, we got to get there before 10 so they don't sell out. It's
I
amazing. What has really helped me, because that was another thing. I was like, I am a social being. And I knew that I said, if you go to Costa Rica, you cannot isolate yourself.
mm-mm.
You have got to put yourself out there. No matter how shy and introverted you think you are, you need people. So I joined all the Facebook groups I could join. And every time someone would say, hey, I'm new to La Fortuna, would anyone want to get together for coffee? Or when I first arrived, I'm like, hey, I just arrived, do you want to meet? People reached out. In
I love
2 months, I have friends
I
that
love
are from Canada, from just all over, um, English speaking, but also learning the language,
it.
right? So that I'm learning from them. And I even befriended a young man uh, from the local department store. And I
Oh,
said, he's like, I want to learn more English. And I said, well, I want to learn more Spanish. I said, how about we have like a conversational meetup once or twice a week, and then we can learn from each other. So that's starting up.
I love that.
And I think more and more people, I mentioned it to some other folks, and they're like, I'd be interested, because I figured we could group people by their, like almost like you take a test to see
Your
who you
ability.
are, and then like have a scenario. I was just thinking this, like, okay, we're going to the restaurant, we're ordering food. That's what we're going to be doing today. That's the conversation. That's what I need help with, right?
I
So I'm
love it.
excited. So that's how I'm meeting people.
I
And
love
there's great people. Like the trip to Walmart is like, we get so excited.
that.
Yeah, right. The little things you miss from home.
Yeah.
hmm We have to drive an hour to go to the local Walmart,
Ah,
and it's a field trip.
well, um, those are the things that it's funny because I love it that you're doing that. You're not one of the things that is super annoying to me and probably to Tico's as well is when we as North Americans come in and go, oh, we want to change all of this. Like you guys need to be doing this. You need to change that. This isn't right. Why are you doing it that way? How can we do?
hmm
And it's like, why don't we just come in, observe
hmm
how things are here, and then we adapt? Because
Absolutely.
if you're not adaptable, really changing countries is a huge mistake for you
hmm
because you're going to be shocked, not just you're going to be shocked at how many things are they feel like 1975.
Yes, yes.
They feel like pre-internet. Even though the internet is there, it really hasn't caught up with all of their systems and processes down there. And I don't think that I don't, not that they don't know how, I think they just don't really care
hmm
that anything changes at the speed of light. And so, you think about riding a bicycle, a 10 speed or whatever downhill, right? And like you don't really even need a gear. You're just flying downhill because everything is working as it should. And in Costa Rica, nothing goes fast like that. Nothing is smooth like that. And
hmm
you have to just sometimes get off and walk your bike.
hmm
And that has to be okay with you. And if it isn't okay with you, reconsider. But I love, Robin, that you took so many trips to come in and decide this, and then you plotted it out, and then you're on this test run. I mean, it's so wise that you're doing that instead of like just jumping and then going, oh, what the crap did I do?
hmm
So that
Thank
that
you for that.
yeah, that right there is just amazing. So, I'm going to wrap this up and go. If there were one thing that when you came down, I know you've only been here for a short time so far, but if there was one thing, one piece of advice that you could give someone who's considering a leap to Costa Rica, what would that one thing be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would just say choose where you live wisely. I think that was very important for me. I was like, ooh, I don't need AC. Well, I do. Um, and proximity to the town you want to be in is very important, because unless you have a car, you have to have the bus, you have to have the taxi ride. That can get pricey to meet with people. I think where you land is important, and I would say research it. Research every little thing, right? Make sure it's go there. Maybe rent it for a week, rent it for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, because that way, what you see during the day might be different at night,
Right.
right?
Right.
I would just say research. That's just
And what you see in January may be different than what you see in
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. One of the things that I think is so important that people don't consider, and I've mentioned it on other podcasts, but I can't assume that everybody has watched every podcast, is that if you were going to move to the United States, you wouldn't just be like, I'm going to move to the United States. Okay,
Right.
well, your experience in New York will be different than your experience in Dallas.
Mhm.
And your experience in Dallas will be different than your experience in Phoenix.
Absolutely.
So what what first of all, what type of environment do you want to live in?
Mhm.
And then you have to consider that when you're coming to Costa Rica too, because there are so many different climates to even be in. Even
Mhm.
though we're in Central America and they're like, I'm going somewhere where it's warm. Well, if you're up in the mountains, you better bring some hoodies because it gets chilly up
Right.
there when you're
Right.
up in the
Right.
cloud forest. And if you're deciding you want to be a beach person, then you're going to have to determine, like if you're out in Guanacaste, your electricity is going to be exorbitant because it is hot out there, hot
Mhm.
and dry. And
Mhm.
so I think really people have to consider Costa Rica as a country, even though it's a smaller country. I mean, think about Texas, right? There
Right.
are so many different areas in Texas. There are, whether you're in East Texas or West Texas, those are two different countries right there. And so you wouldn't just go, I'm going to move to Texas. Yeah, well, where? You know,
Right.
those are important things. So I think you're 100% right. Like figure out where you want to be and then visit it different times of the year and go, what does it look like if I'm socked in the rainy season right here in this part? Am I okay with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Or and if I'm want to be a beach person, what does that look like in the high season for me? Don't just go whenever it's nice and calm and nobody's there. Think about the people who live like in Panama City, Florida, right? And they love their beach town, they love it, and they hate it during spring break.
Right.
I mean, it's overrun with strangers
Mhm.
who don't love their area, who trash it, who do whatever. Like, can you tolerate that? So I think you're 100% right. Determine where you want to be and then visit it several different times during the year and stay for extended periods and go, yes, I love it all of the time.
Mhm. Mhm. That worked for me. It worked for me. And I
Yeah.
think the other thing I would probably say is if you do decide to come here, give yourself time to adjust, to
Mhm.
settle, and be honest with yourself because you're going to have good days, bad days. There were days that I've questioned, why am I here? Because it's so different, it's so new. But then there are other days that I am like overjoyed and so happy to learn things. Like someone came by, I think he was like the landscaper, and he's like in broken English with the coconut. He's come over and he takes it with the machete, and he's like coconut water. What? Like that was amazing,
Yeah.
you know. So you,
And some of those wide swings can happen all in one day. You can be
yes,
all distraught
yes,
and lonely, whatever, in one day. And then at the end of the day, some macaws, just a whole flock of macaws fly over and you're like,
yes,
oh my God, where would I ever see this again?
exactly,
And then
yes,
you're like, this is why.
yeah.
But
So
like,
I would just say, let yourself feel it. Yeah,
yeah. So even if you were in South Carolina, your days are like that, right? There's days when
yeah,
you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even take the traffic in this part of the country, blah, blah, blah. And then
right,
the day there's something amazing,
yeah,
about South Carolina that you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful here. I love it.
yeah. I
So
just be patient because it's definitely a journey. Enjoy it. Enjoy
Ab
it.
the ups and the downs, enjoy all of it.
Hmm.
All right,
Absolutely.
Rob, thank you for joining me today and sharing your story, and for anybody out there who is considering the move to Costa Rica or have already done it, like, literally, like, any bits and nuggets that you can take from Robin's journey that will help you. I mean, I think the pet portion of it, transporting pets, was so valuable. I love that, and I love the fact that she, took her time and visited several different parts of the country before making that commitment, and then that she's on this 6 months journey right now. And that is so cool that you can take that time and do that and discover whether this is going to be my forever home or my forever second home, whatever it
Mhm.
will be. I love that. So, Robin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Robin. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Absolutely. To everybody else, pura vida. Have a great day. And don't forget to subscribe and share this with anybody that you know that is making this consideration. Have a good one.